Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Berita RTM and you're watching News at 10. Our headlines for tonight. Encouraging economic growth allows government to increase budget 2023. Government to undertake giant project in repairing old schools and clinics. The prosperity that Malaysia experienced in 2022 with much higher revenue following encouraging economic growth is a catalyst for the government to allocate a larger amount in budget 2023 to ensure that the national economy is able to withstand external challenges. Themed Developing Malaysia Madani Budget 2023 involves an allocation of 388.1 billion ringgit with a 289.1 billion ringgit for operating expenditure and 99 billion ringgit for development expenditure, including 2 billion ringgit as contingency savings. Budget 2023 focuses on 12 main initiatives based on 3 strategies, namely driving an inclusive and sustainable economy, institutional reform and governance, to restore confidence and social justice to reduce imbalance.
Ekonomi supaya limpahannya dapat dinikmati oleh semua rakyat. Belanjawan 2023 memperuntukkan 388.1 bilion ringgit dengan 289.1 bilion ringgit untuk belanja mengurus, 99 bilion ringgit bagi belanja pembangunan, termasuk 2 bilion ringgit simpanan luar jangka. Selaras dengan dasar fiskal mengembang, peruntukan pembangunan ditingkatkan kepada 97 bilion ringgit, tidak termasuk 2 bilion simpanan luar, ketimbang 71.6 bilion ringgit tahun lalu. Peningkatan ini adalah untuk menumpukan program membasmi kemiskinan, baik pulih prasarana awam dan desa.
He said with the reform of the government's procurement procedures, it will ensure that this additional expenditure is fully utilised for the benefit of the people. He said this while presenting the budget in Parliament today. This is the first budget table under the unity government, led by Datuk Seri Anwar, who's also Finance Minister. The earlier budget 2023 was tabled by the previous government in October last year, but could not be passed before Parliament was dissolved. In addition, he said that the government will take a more progressive approach to broaden the tax base by introducing a luxury goods tax this year on items such as luxury watches and fashion items.
Kerajaan bercadang untuk memperkenalkan cukai barangan mewah mulai tahun ini dengan had nilai tertentu mengikut jenis barang mewah, jam tangan mewah, barang fashion mewah dan segala-galanya yang mewah itu harus dicukai sepatutnya.
In line with international best practices, the Prime Minister also said the government would conduct a study to introduce a low-rate capital gains tax for the disposal of unlisted shares by companies from 2024. He added that the government would hold an engagement session with relevant parties to examine the details of this proposal. E-cigarette industry players can breathe a sigh of relief as the government announced that the business and its products would be regulated through taxation. Datuk Seri Anwar said although vape with nicotine is still illegal, the product is still being sold widely and is estimated to be worth more than 2 billion ringgit.
Kerajaan juga bercadang mengenakan duty excise kepada produk cecair atau gel mengandungi nikotin yang digunakan untuk rokok elektronik dan vape.
He added that the government also supported Generation Endgame and agreed that half of the excise duty be relocated to the Health Ministry in an effort to improve healthcare services. The Unity Government today announced a special Aidilfitri assistance of RM700 for civil servants of grade 56 and below, including those on contract basis, and RM350 for government pensioners. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who's also Finance Minister, said the special assistance was a token of appreciation for the services and sacrifices of civil servants and to help them prepare for the upcoming Hari Raya Aidilfitri in April.
Kerajaan bersetuju untuk menyalurkan bantuan khas keuangan Aidilfitri sebanyak RM700 kepada semua penjawat awam. Grade 56 ke bawah, grade 56 ke bawah. Termasuk lantikan kontrak, selain RM350 juga akan disalurkan kepada pesara kerajaan.
He added that the government changes, leaders come and go, but civil servants, as the backbone of the government, remain loyal in discharging their entrusted duties. As the nation moved towards Malaysia Madani, he said civil servants should quickly bring about changes, implement reforms with the ultimate goal of giving the best service to the people and the country. Towards ensuring the collective and all-encompassing well-being of the rakyat, the government has announced a renewed focus on helping some 130,000 people free themselves from the shackles of poverty. The Rakyat Income Initiative IPR, with an allocation of RM750 million, is announced to tackle the issue through new approaches.
Bantuan dan kemudahan kepada peserta tidak lagi diberikan sekaligus, tetapi secara bulanan untuk memastikan mereka menambah hasil dan berupaya bebas daripada belenggu kemiskinan. Program ini menyasarkan untuk peserta meraih pendapatan hingga di antara RM2,000 hingga RM2,500 bagi tempoh pemantauan 24 bulan dan selepas itu menjana pendapatan sendiri melalui hasil yang diperolehi.
The data for 400,000 participants will also be quickly updated to ensure that no participants in need of help will be left out. The government will standardise the list of recipients from the Implementation Coordination Unit ICU and the Community Welfare Department JKM under one database. Budget 2023 will in particular focus on addressing the high cost of living as well as strengthening the social safety net. Therefore, Datuk Seri Anwar said Sumbangan Tunai Rahmah STR or Rahmah Cash 8 would help ease the cost of living for 8.7 million beneficiaries involving an allocation of almost RM8 billion.
Isu rumah pendapatan kurang RM2,500 layak terima sumbangan sehingga RM2,500 bergantung kepada bilangan anak. Kerajaan juga akan memberi sumbangan tambahan RM600 juta kepada isi rumah penerima STR termiskin mengikut data kasih. Ini bermakna keluarga dalam kumpulan miskin tegar layak terima sumbangan sehingga maksimum RM3,100.
The government also proposed a medical scheme called Scheme Perubatan Madani for the poor seeking treatment from private general practitioner GP clinics. According to Datuk Seri Anwar, RM120 million has been allocated for this scheme under Budget 2023. He said this will make it easier for people to see their GPS as they don't need to go to the hospital for mild conditions.
Kerajaan memperkenalkan skim perubatan madani khusus untuk golongan miskin mendapatkan rawatan kesihatan di klinik dan pengamal perubatan am swasta GP seperti mana dilaksanakan Kerajaan Selangor. RM120 juta disediakan untuk tujuan ini.
The Prime Minister said RM80 million will be allocated to strengthen the PECA B40 scheme by including diabetes screening. Tax relief for medical expenses for Year of Assessment 2023 will be increased from $8,000 to $10,000 for medical expenses, and up to $4,000 tax relief will be provided for autism, Down syndrome and other specific learning disabilities. Repairing dilapidated schools and clinics nationwide will be the government's giant project this year. Datuk Seri Anwar said around 1.2 billion ringgit amount has been earmarked for 400 clinics and 380 schools which are in a current state of disrepair, with a viewing to getting the repair works done by the end of this year.
Saban tahun setelah 6 dekad, 6 dasawarsa merdeka, masih berdepan dengan masalah sekolah daif, klinik daif. Saya tidak mahu perkara ini berlarutan. Kita akan permudahkan prosedur dan tahun ini kita mulakan projek raksasa, bukan projek besar mega, tetapi membaiki 400 klinik daif dan 380 sekolah daif. Semua sekolah daif dikenal pasti oleh Kementerian Pendidikan, 400 klinik daif oleh Kementerian Kesihatan, dan kita siapkan dana tambahan 1.2 bilion ringgit untuk maksud ini.
Meanwhile, 2.7 billion ringgit has been set aside to maintain and upgrade federal roads, while another 1.5 billion ringgit is provided to upgrade and build new rural roads, while 300 million ringgit allocation for small infrastructure works for G1 and G4 contractors has also been provided. The Premier said the issue of increasing road accidents needs to be addressed immediately, especially if they are caused by the weaknesses of the government's procedures in solving road safety issues. Coming up next, 2025 to be known as Visit Malaysia Year. In his presentation of Budget 2023, the Premier also announced that 2025 will be Visit Malaysia Year. He said Malaysia is a country rich in national treasures and clean, pristine beaches, apart from having a diverse flora and fauna. Such attractions could clearly give Malaysia an edge and the ability to generate more income through tourism activities, he added. Datuk Seri Anwar said 2025 would be Visit Malaysia Year with a target of 23.5 million international tourist arrivals and a projected income of 76.8 billion ringgit.
Untuk ini, promosi 250 juta ringgit untuk maksud tersebut. Dana geran padanan yang akan bekerjasama dengan industri pelancongan dan kebudayaan.
He said these matching grants will help promote tourism promotion activities and organize major events such as international sporting and cultural events. Such grants will also be used to forge collaborations with Malaysia Airport Holding Berhad MAHB and international airlines to encourage charter flights. The recently established National Scam Response Centre NSRC has been provided with 10 million ringgit to strengthen its role in combating online fraud and scams. Datuk Seri Anwar said that for 2022 alone, more than 25,000 crimes were recorded with losses totaling 850 million ringgit. Elaborating further, the Premier said that although the government has established the NSRC, there's still no uniform policy in dealing with this issue because each banking institution issues its own guidelines.
Negara juga akan menguatkuasakan dasar kill switch kepada semua institusi perbankan bagi membolehkan pengguna sendiri mengambil tindakan segera membekukan akaun mereka termasuk kad ATM daripada digunakan sekiranya terdapat aktiviti yang mencurigakan.
Datuk Seri Anwar also noted that people who were declared bankrupt deserved a second chance. He said in relation to that, the government will amend the Insolvency Act 1967 so that bankruptcy cases can be automatically discharged within a short time. Datuk Seri Anwar said while waiting for the amendment, minor cases with debts of less than 50,000 ringgit that met the conditions would be discharged immediately from 1st March. The Premier noted that the government aimed to discharge 130,000 people from bankruptcy status with the passing of the amendment. A special team under the Royal Malaysia Police PDRM Criminal Investigation Department's Sexual Women and Child Investigation Division D11 will be formed to curb child pornography activities. Dato' Sri Anwar said the team will work together with various agencies to track down perpetrators involved.
Antaranya pasukan khas di bawah D11 akan ditubuhkan khusus untuk membanteras aktiviti pornografi kanak-kanak dan bekerjasama dengan pelbagai agensi. Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita, Keluarga dan Masyarakat akan mewujudkan Jabatan Pembangunan Kanak-kanak di bawah Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat.
Commenting further on the matter, Dato' Sri Anwar said this is to provide more comprehensive support services to children. Meanwhile, the Premier said companies that provide consumer credit services, such as factoring companies and buy now pay later services, need to be further regulated to protect customers' rights. He added that to guarantee fair treatment and protect the rights of the people and businesses, the government will enact the Consumer Credit Act and establish a Consumer Credit Monitoring Board to regulate the credit business that is expected to be tabled this year. The agri-food sector has been revamped with a new focus towards sustainable production of local food through automation and digitalization. 1 billion ringgit has been allocated for the agri-food funding scheme in order to boost productivity.
Bagi memastikan bekalan makanan pada harga berpatutan, pengeluaran makanan perlu ditingkatkan supaya berskala besar dan berdaya saing. Melalui sokongan kerajaan, syarikat Farm Fresh telah muncul sebagai pengeluar susu segar utama di Malaysia. Oleh itu, kerajaan akan menggalakkan pelaburan swasta berasaskan pertanian berskala besar, antara lain melalui penyediaan insentif tanah, pembiayaan dan geran teknologi. Hanya 1.2 juta hektar tanah negara dimanfaatkan untuk tujuan tanaman makanan berbanding 7 hektar tanah bagi tanaman kelapa sawit dan getah.
Meanwhile, agencies under the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security such as Felda, Felkra and Brisda are called upon to convert their idle land, which span up to 800 acres, into agri-food projects. The government will allocate 30 million ringgit for cooperation with state governments for the implementation. Dato' Sri Anwar also said the government has prepared 725 million ringgit in allocation this year for digital connectivity in 47 industrial areas and over 3,700 schools. He said the government will also speed up the implementation of the National Digital Network Jendela as a national effort to provide internet network facilities. Dato' Sri Anwar said Malaysians deserve to have a stable internet services as it has become a basic necessities for daily life.
Kini kerajaan perpaduan mengambil pendekatan supaya DNB diuruskan dengan lebih telus dan terangkum supaya mencapai penyertaan penuh oleh pihak penyedia perkhidmatan telekomunikasi. Maknanya ada anjakan daripada pendekatan yang lalu supaya jamin harga yang berpatutan untuk rakyat dan tidak membebankan keuangan negara.
The previous administration had pioneered the 5G initiative through DNB. At the end of the 2022, DNB achieved 50% coverage of residential areas and was on track to achieve 80% at the end of 2023. In a foreign front, rescue effort for China mine collapse victims resume. Rescue efforts where a coal mine collapsed in northern China's Inner Mongolia have resumed today after a second landslide halted the search for survivors. Heavy machinery and rescue dogs were being used in the search for the 47 miners still missing. The open-pit mine operated by small local firm Xinjiang Coal Mine Company collapsed in a landslide on Wednesday, leaving workers buried under a pile of debris half of a kilometre wide and estimated 80 metres high. State media reported that a second landslide halted rescue efforts with the risk of more collapses very high due to the large collapsed area. The death toll from the dramatic collapse has risen to at least 6 people. The mine, once underground, was converted to an open pit operation in 2012. It has suspended production for 3 years before restarting in April 2021 without specifying the cause of the closure. Coal is a major source of energy in China, but its mines are among the world's deadliest, largely due to lax enforcement of safety standards, despite repeated government orders for improvements in safety over the years. Inner Mongolia is one of China's top coal-producing regions. Many British supermarkets have imposed purchase limits on fresh vegetables and fruits due to continuous supply shortages. Morrisons, Asda and other large UK supermarket chains have joined those imposing purchase restrictions. For example, a customer can buy only 3 packs of tomatoes at Asda Market. Since the eruption of the Ukraine-Russia conflict in late February last year, energy prices, especially the price of electricity in the UK, have been surging, pushing many British farmers to give up growing fresh vegetables and fruits in greenhouses. As a result, the number of domestic agricultural products in the UK has greatly declined, and the country has had to rely more and more on imports. However, Brexit also disrupted the normal supply chain for many goods, leading to the current shortages of fruits and vegetables. Affected by high inflation, the production cost of fresh agricultural products in the UK has soared, which has seriously discouraged local farmers. According to official figures, the UK's annual inflation rate dipped slightly to 10.1% in January from 10.5% in December 2022, but still sits at an alarmingly high level unseen for decades. A winter storm is spawning unusual weather in California, United States, catching drivers off guard by the rare weather phenomena yesterday. In Lake Arrowhead in San Bernardino County, drivers reported tough driving conditions. Chains on tire are obligatory in this area, and local authorities have provided a chain installer as some drivers are unfamiliar with such fierce weather conditions. In the Cajun Pass in San Bernardino County, drivers battled snowy conditions before possible highway closures. Drivers have reported fast-changing weather conditions in the region, from clear skies to near whiteout roads. The bad weather in the Golden State came as another monster U.S. winter storm pounded the northern plains and upper Midwest yesterday. Blizzards are not typically associated with Southern California, but residents were nevertheless preparing for a potent winter storm that forecasters warn could make mountain roads impassable. Athlete welfare, sports facilities remain a priority in budget. That and more next in sports. Overall, the national sports industry received a total allocation of 399 million ringgit. A large portion of the allocation will be put towards improving on existing training programs and sports facilities for all athletes and para-athletes, amounting to 324 million ringgit. To encourage sponsorship from private companies in sports, especially those with a strong core in unity, 50 million ringgit and matching grant funds were prepared. 20 million ringgit has also been allocated for sports, culture and arts program at school and community levels, with the involvement of youth and all types of school in a cross-cultural manner. Furthermore, the welfare of athletes and former athletes were also given attention through the National Athletes Welfare Foundation (YAKIP), amounting to 5 million ringgit. A tax exemption has been proposed for all employers who are paying the salaries of former national athletes. It was a disappointing day for Barcelona at Old Trafford as Manchester United fought back to earn a 2-1 win that knocked the Spanish side out of the Europa League, leaving the Catalans licking their wounds after another continental failure. Last season, they also ended up in the Europa League playoffs after finishing third in their Champions League group and were knocked out of Europe's second-tier competition in the quarterfinals after a 3-2 loss to Eintracht Frankfurt. Robert Lewandowski's early penalty had given Barca the perfect start at Old Trafford. But the La Liga leaders were again undone on the European stage as Fred levelled early in the second period before Anthony delivered his biggest moment since arriving in Manchester from Ajax. The fact that United's reward is merely a place in the last 16 of the Europa League shows there remains a long way to go for three-time European champions to rediscover their past glories on the continental stage. But momentum is building under the former Ajax boss, with United still in the hunt for 4 trophies in Erik ten Hag's first season in charge. Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe and Karim Benzema are among the nominees for the Best FIFA Football Award 2022, which will be announced on Monday in Paris. Argentina forward Messi and his Paris Saint-Germain teammate Mbappe join Real Madrid's Benzema as the 3 finalists for the Best Male Player Award. Messi could win his second best trophy after leading Argentina to their 3rd World Cup title by beating Mbappe's France in last year's final in Qatar, scoring 7 goals during the tournament and earning his second Golden Ball. World Cup Golden Boot winner Mbappe and France 2022 Ballon d'Or winner Benzema feature for the first time among the 3 finalists. Meanwhile, Barcelona's Alex Putellas, England's European Championship winner Beth Mead, and United States' Alex Morgan are the finalists for the Best Female Player prize. Spain midfielder Putellas could claim the Best Women's Player award for the 2nd year in a row, despite being sidelined since July with a knee injury. The finalists for Best Men's Coach are Manchester City Pep Guardiola, who took the Premier League title, Real Madrid's Carlo Ancelotti after winning the Champions League, and Argentina's World Cup winning coach Lionel Scaloni. The Best Women's Coach finalists are the European Championship winning coach of England, Sarina Wiegman, Pia Sundhage, who won the Copa America with Brazil, and Lyon manager Sonia Bompasto, who became the first woman to win the Champions League as a player and a coach. The winners will be announced on 27 February during a ceremony in Paris. On to tennis, the Rio Open. After dropping the opening set, Carlos Alcaraz came back to beat Fabio Fognini yesterday, earning himself a spot in the quarterfinal as he looks to defend his title. It was a rematch of their 2022 semi-final on the Brazilian clay, and the Spaniard once again got the better of the more experienced Italian, beating him 6-7, 6-2, 6-4. It was a hard bout for both, with Fognini converting all 5 of his break points opportunities, with Alcaraz getting the best of him, converting 8 of 17. Alcaraz will face one of 2 Serbians in the quarters, either Laslo Djere or Dusan Lajovic. Alcaraz compatriot Bernabe Zapata Miralles also advanced to the quarterfinals on Thursday when he upset number 4 seed Francisco Cerúndolo of Argentina 6-4, 4-6, 6-1. Zapata Miralles will face yet another Spaniard in the quarters, 7th seed Albert Ramos Vinolas. Alright, so that concludes tonight's edition of News at 10. In our top story, encouraging economic growth allows government to increase budget 2023. Do tune in to updates at noon coming up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on TV2. You can also stream it via RTM's mobile click app. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Thank you for watching.